Does anyone remember what a prefix is? You add a prefix to the front of a word to change its meaning. Let's look at a few examples. We have the word extensive. Extensive is extending beyond a great area, kind of like Kim Kardashian's derriere. If you add the co, you get coextensive. Coextensive is expanding over the same area, kind of like Kim Kardashian's yoga pants. Let's look at another example. Here's the word educational. Educational means serving to enlighten or inspire. When you add the co, you get co-ed. And applied in a dorm setting, you change the meaning entirely. Because when you have a co-ed dorm, you don't just have girls, you have boys. And in my experience, boys like to play with fire and ham sandwiches. This is an equation of my first semester of college. 1 M80 plus 1 ham sandwich equals fire alarm. If you multiply that by 46, you get 46 building evacuations, usually at about 3 a.m. in one semester. Let's look at another one. Here we have incidence. Incidence is the rate of occurrence of an event, usually an undesirable event. Kind of like ham sandwich shrapnel at 3 a.m. But when you add the co, you get coincidence. Coincidence is a sequence of events happening that, although unplanned, seem to have been organized. Fellow Toastmasters, co has power and strength. Maybe not as much strength as Kim Kardashian's yoga pants. Close. Co is what we can put into change. It's likely that everybody in here has a change that they would like to see happen. Maybe that change is a program at work. Maybe it's just getting your kids to do their chores. But what's in a change? Apparently a lot more than is usually put into it, as according to a Gallup research study, 70% of change initiatives fail. So there's two key things that you can do to put co into change. One is involve the input of many, and two is gain consensus. We'll start with one, getting input from many. If you want change to happen, you need to involve a lot of the people or all of the people who are actually going to be impacted by the change and need to implement it. So many times, one person or a small group of people are responsible for coming up with the change, but those people are not involved that are actually going to implement it. Raise your hand if you've ever been impacted by this phenomenon, where either you came up with the change and someone else had to do it, or there was a decision made that you are not a part of. Involving many people is that spark that can provide innovation in the ideas. Maybe not as much spark as an M80 and a ham sandwich at 3 a.m., but close. Number two, gain consensus. Especially when a change is going to impact many people, gaining consensus is critical. But what does consensus actually mean? I like to do social experiments in my own household with my 5 and 8-year-old. So what this would entail is saying, okay, boys, come up with something that you can share together, a treat that you can share or a movie that you can watch. Why do I do this? 3 reasons. 1, I think it builds character. 2, it gives them an opportunity to strengthen their negotiation skills. And 3, it gives me a good laugh. First, what consensus is not from a whiny 5-year-old. I don't want this Kit Kat bar, I want peanut M&Ms. That's not consensus. But it's also not me in a store for 5 hours as we're examining every possible treat option to find one that the two boys are equally passionate about. That's not consensus. Consensus is allowing everyone to be heard, and even if the exact idea of each individual is not selected to be the plan, their voice was heard, and it's probably some melding of what they had shared. But what stands in the way of consensus? Well, oftentimes it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of a meeting can be claimed by 20% of the people who just dominate the dialogue. In my practice, there are so many ways to overcome that 80-20 rule. Everything from having people build Lego models in Lego Serious Play to using sticky notes and brainstorming, clustering, and naming categories of ideas in something called technology of participation. But what can you do? Walking out of here today, 2 very simple things. Whether you're having a meeting or a conversation in a conference room, at the kitchen table, or in a playroom, first give everyone an opportunity to think of ideas. Ideally, they would come up with at least 8, and they would write them down. Second, allow everyone to share one of their clearest ideas in round-robin fashion. That way, everyone can be heard. Maybe not as loudly as a M80 and ham sandwich at 3 a.m., but close. Madame Toastmaster.